Hi, this is Teresa Porter with Sirrine Yoga. I'm going to guide you through the Porter cocktail. This is a 3-step process that we teach in our corporate wellness programs. It's one of our most popular frameworks that we guide the employees through. So it starts with just our breath as the first step. This is something we have access to at all times. We could use it anytime. So of 24 years of doing body work, I noticed a huge difference in the body releasing with audible exhalation. When I was in on the muscle or the fascia, I would actually feel the muscle tension soften underneath my fingertips. So I'm going to invite you just to take a couple deep cleansing breaths. So what that looks like is you're going to breathe in through the nose. You drop the jaw open and exhale like you're sighing. I'm going to invite you to do that a couple times. When most people exhale, what I noticed when I was teaching yoga and doing body work is that they would exhale like they're blowing through a straw, which actually constricts the body. So I just want you to notice the difference in those two exhalations. Most people, when they exhale like, which actually kind of constricts and tightens the body, versus taking a deep belly breath in. And you're going to exhale like you're sighing. And drop the jaw open. Notice the difference between those two exhalations in the body, in the shoulders, the neck, even the belly. So I'm going to invite you just to take a couple of those audible exhalations to start with. Take a deep belly breath in and exhale out. Good. Take another deep belly breath in and out. When you're focusing on the breath, I invite you to close your eyes if it feels comfortable. It kind of helps you drop more into the body, out of the business of the mind. Next, we're going to go into yoga breathing, which is in and out through the nose. You're going to place one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. What this does, it helps you to evaluate where your breath is at. Most people are up in their chest, and it's short and shallow breathing. I'm going to invite you to try and drop your breath from here down into your belly. So the hand that's on the belly, I want you to be feeling the belly and the rib cage expand on the inhalation. And as you exhale, you're going to feel everything decompress. You're drawing the belly button towards the spine. Again, closing your eyes if this feels comfortable. You're going to take a nice deep belly breath in, feeling the belly and the rib cage expand on the inhalation, then exhaling out. If you need to do the audible exhalation, do that for a few times before you go into the yoga breathing. And as we do this, I want you to really give yourself permission to drop down out of the business of your mind, letting go of your to-do list, your agenda, all the things that are pulling at you into the mind for your attention, and just let it be. Giving yourself permission to be fully present in your body for you at this moment. And as you do that, I'm going to invite you to scan your body. You're going to start at the top of your head, and I'm just going to check in to see how we're feeling. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. Very often as adults, we get stuck on autopilot. We don't give ourselves permission to slow down enough to check in to see how we're feeling, what our body's telling us. So as you scan the body from the head down into the shoulders, the neck, the chest, the abdomen, noticing how you're feeling. No judgment, just notice what's there. And if you can find a word that explains physical, one for mental, one for emotional. And some days it might be the same word for all three areas, but you're going to continue to scan down into the hips. How's your back feeling? Your knees, all the way down into your toes. We're going to do that one more time. And when you're focusing on the breath, I want you to slowly transition to that yoga breathing in and out through the nose. The goal is to make your inhalation for at least the count of 3. Exhaling the same amount of time. And if you can, when you take a longer exhalation, it actually helps the anxiety to release even more, helps to drop you more into your body, helps the body just to soften more when the exhalation is longer and deeper than your inhalation. So I want you to take a snapshot of what those words are physically, mentally, and emotionally. And now we're going to move into the second step of the Porter cocktail. So I'm going to demonstrate first, and then we're going to do it together. You're going to say a mantra while you're focusing on your breath and what it looks like. I'm just putting my hands up so you can see what I'm doing. So what it looks like is you're going to say, peace begins with me. And each time you bring a finger to the thumb, you're going to take a deep breath in. Again, the goal is to make the inhalation for at least the count of 3, exhaling the same amount of time or a little bit longer. So I'm going to guide you through that first. And we're going to, again, if it feels comfortable, close your eyes. If not, keep them open. So you're going to close your eyes. You're going to bring your pointer finger and thumb together. Rest these wherever it feels comfortable, whether you're doing this at your desk, sitting in a chair, let your hands relax on your lap. Take a deep breath in, pointer finger and thumb comes together, saying the word out loud or to yourself, peace. Middle finger and thumb comes together, begins. Ring finger and thumb comes together with. Making that exhalation a little bit longer if you can. And then last is me. So pinky finger and thumb comes together. And every time you start to go back up into the business of the mind, just give yourself permission to drop down into the body, being present with your breath, noticing how the fingertips touch when they come together. I'm going to invite you to go through that one more time at your own, on your own pace. Again, I'm just going to give you the framework, and you could take as long as or little as you want with this. So again, the mantra is peace begins with me. That's the second step of the Porter cocktail. The third step of the Porter cocktail is grounding and gratitude. Most of us have heard the power of having a gratitude practice, but how often do we stop and notice how we're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally to drop into gratitude? This is one of the highest frequencies that we could bring into our body by just thinking or verbally expressing gratitude in our lives. I know sometimes it's easier to focus on all the negative things or, the little things that are rubbing us the wrong way, rather than focusing on all the things. Maybe there's just little things in your life you could focus on at the moment because you feel like too many things are not going correctly, or you feel like things are just not going in your favor, right? I've had moments and phases of my life definitely where that feels like that's the case. This is where I just use the power of gratitude. It could be something as simple as I woke up on time. I took a few minutes to stretch this morning, or it could be something big, right? So again, if it feels comfortable, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, and I want you to drop down into your body when you focus on this piece of gratitude. And I really want you to feel it from the heart space, not like a task to-do list that you're just kind of trying to go through the motions, which you might do this at first, and that's okay. But I really want you to drop down into the heart space. And what this does, it amplifies that frequency of gratitude when you can drop into the heart space and you start to feel the emotions around that piece of gratitude. So this might be a relationship. This might be an experience you had. For me, a lot of my moments of gratitude are nature. So when I go into that moment of where I was kayaking, paddleboarding, hiking, whatever it is for you that grounds you in gratitude, I want you to think of the emotions, the details around it. The more you can go back into that moment, like you're reliving it, the brain doesn't know the difference between reality and what you're thinking. That's why it's so powerful, how you can retrain your subconscious by your thoughts and your intentions, and it can drastically change the frequency in our body from a negative to a positive. So I want you to, again, if you feel comfortable, I want you to ground in gratitude. If you want, you can place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly again, place your hands on your lap. And I want you just to really ground in that piece of gratitude. As you continue to focus on that breath, making it even and continuous. And I want you to just take a few moments and really think about, from the heart space, the details, the emotions around that piece of gratitude. And we're just going to stay here and connect with that while you continue to focus on your breath, making it even and continuous, making that inhalation for at least the count of 3, exhaling the same amount of time or just a little bit longer. And every time you go back up into the to-do list in the busyness, just give yourself permission to stay in your body, focusing on that piece of gratitude. Inhalation for at least the count of 3 as you're lengthening through the crown of the head. Exhaling out through the nose or through the mouth, whatever supports you in this process, this practice. Allowing the shoulder blades to melt down the back. We're going to take one more deep breath here while you focus on that piece of gratitude. Now I want you to check in with yourself again. Notice how you're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. And again, if you can, find a word for mental, one for emotional, one for physical. And I want you to notice the difference between when we started before the porter cocktail, that very first step of focusing on our breath, and how are you feeling now? A lot of the responses when I do this in different groups, I've done this for first responder groups and corporate sessions, it could be as little as they're just feeling more peaceful. Some people get emotional. And I've had feedback as some people have struggled with anxiety, even anxiety attacks. They'll use one or all three of these steps. It can instantly bring them out of that moment. I've had teams tell me that they start to feel the stress and the overwhelm kick up in the office, and they kind of look at each other. And they learn this as one of their tools in their tool belt, which I love to hear. They'll kind of look at each other, okay, it's time for the porter cocktail, right? So I invite you to try this. How to implement is little baby steps. You start to feel the overwhelm kick in. Maybe start to feel the brain fog in the afternoon kick in. And I want you to use one or all of these steps. And if you're in a place where you have the anxiety kick in and you don't feel like you could be very visual or notice what you're doing, maybe it's just this mantra and you have your hands on your lap. You're sitting in a meeting, you're at a conference. Just something tangible to focus on while you're focusing on your breath can instantly bring you out of that anxiety, that overwhelm, brings you back into your body. So I invite you to try this, one or all three steps. This is a great way to get you out of the busyness, the hamster wheel of the mind, I call it, the hamster wheel of busyness, into your body. So out of sympathetic state, fight, flight, or freeze, into parasympathetic state, rest and digest. And the more often you do that, you're going to train your body that that's a tool that you could go to and your body will respond. So I hope this helped you, and stay tuned for more information.